Am I the a-hole for not acknowledging I have a sister? 9 years ago, we found out that my 28 female mother had a 5-year affair with someone she met from work. My parents divorced and she went on to get remarried to the man, Greg. My mother moved her husband and his daughter, Kylie, 26 female, from his previous marriage into our house, and I lived with them before I left for college. I remained in minimal contact with them until Kylie joined my company and started working in my department. Nobody was aware of our relation since we had different last names, and I had told Kylie not to disclose anything about this. Last Friday, while clocking into work with a few of my co-workers, Kylie came up to me to ask if I could come home for a family dinner. By lunch, our entire department was gossiping about it, and Kylie would confirm their suspicions. Fed up, I told the department that I do not have a sister. Things died down at work, and I agreed to make it to dinner considering it was my mother's birthday. At dinner, I was bombarded with questions about why I refused to acknowledge my sister at work and refused to even call her my sister. Greg told me I was a petty boy for embarrassing Kylie at work and that he has had enough of me mistreating his daughter. He told my mother that my misbehavior was a result of my parents cuddling. He demanded that I address him as my father and Kylie as my sister and to tell everyone at work that too. At that point, I had enough of his relentless chastising, so I told him that all he signed was a marriage certificate and not adoption papers, so I am not his daughter, therefore will not be addressing him as my father. I brought up the fact that I know my dad had created an account for my college fund and paid child support each month, but they used the funds to purchase a new car and to pay off credit card debt. Back then, they told me that I would have to get a part-time job to help with paying off college, because money was tight since they just got a new car. I always found it weird that Kylie never had to get a job to go to college and could afford to stay in a nice apartment during. Kylie was crying by the end of the argument. My mother broke down and yelled at me to stop, while Greg called me an ungrateful witch. I told them that if they only have the capacity to acknowledge and care for one daughter, then do not expect me to be in Kylie's life as her big sister, and left the house. I guess Kylie posted about it in social media because friends and family called me up. Some told me I was being harsh and unfair to Greg and my mother who took care of me, as well as Kylie who had nothing to do with this, while some understood where I was coming from. So, am I the a-hole for doing this? Now for the top comments. They stole your money. Sue the hell out of your cheating mother. To be honest, I'd stop calling her mother. Cheaters don't deserve any better. Yeah, if she was 19 and received money from her father that the mother and stepfather stole, then that's theft. Why did the dad not just give it directly to the daughter though? Opie might have been living with her mom during that time. I think some places require you to pay child support not until the child is 18, but independent. I guess Kylie posted about it on social media. This is where I have a problem with Kylie. I was a bit miffed that she alluded towards a relationship at work when you had previously told her not to, and now she has turned a private argument into a sympathy farming session. I don't like how she's playing this. Not the a-hole. You seem to have handled yourself really well with Greg. Blended families are complicated. It doesn't help that step-parents sometimes want to overstep. Yeah, I wonder why as well. Like, she asked Opie in front of all colleagues when clearly nobody knew about the relationship, and then informed the parents about this and then again on internet. Feels to me like she's manipulating to get sympathy. But the worst is the mom. Clearly sacrificed her own daughter over husband and stepdaughter. She is the a-hole. Thank you for the overwhelming response. I'm still in the middle of reading all your responses, but there seem to be parts that are confusing, and I couldn't elaborate due to the character limit, so I thought I'd clear things up here. Where I'm from, a lot of people live with their parents when they're in college, but I lived with them for a couple of months before college. Child support is mandated until 18, but my dad wanted to make sure I'm well taken care of, so he continued until I was independent at 21. My dad left me 2/3 of my tuition fee, and it was decided that my mother would pay the other 1/3. Unfortunately, child support in my country isn't heavily regulated, so people could get away with not paying, and people can also get away with misusing the funds. In my case, my dad deposited the money in a joint bank account that had both my mother's and my name on it. She can move funds in and out of that account without needing my permission. Conversely, I could too if I knew about it. And where I'm from, it's really common for parents to have joint accounts with their children, so it makes sense why she got away with that. My dad moved out of state and eventually out of the country, but we're still in close contact with one another. I didn't tell him about the job or having to pay for college myself because I didn't want him to worry. I also didn't find out about the college fund until finding the bank book and statements in the safe right before moving out. At that point, I just decided to cut contact and get out of there because there was already no point in arguing. About Kylie, my boss and HR know that Kylie is my stepsister, but that information is kept private and confidential. Our workplace has the tendency to gossip, and Kylie refers to me as her sister around family and friends. I ask if we can maintain our relationship at work strictly professional, which means not referring to me as her sister because I didn't want our co-workers to think that she got into our company because of our relations. She agreed. As for her social media post, she posted a solemn picture on Instagram and captioned, "Tonight is the most terrible night of her life because her family was breaking apart." When prompted in the comments, she elaborated on how I blew up at them and said I would be cutting ties. While I understand that Kylie is innocent and that I shouldn't extend my resentment from my mother and Greg towards her, so I treat her like a co-worker, but I can't bring myself to see her as my family or a friend, and I'm finding it's even harder to do so after her social media post. Sorry for a super long comment, and I hope this clears a few things up. If there's anything else that's confusing, I would be glad to elaborate. Kylie isn't so innocent. I'm willing to bet that she didn't include why you blew up at them or why you wanted to cut ties. She's old enough to know what her father and mother did. She's making you look bad in order to get sympathy and attention. You did nothing wrong, but they did, including Kylie. Next story. Would I be the a-hole if I ask my ex to stop having our daughter call his new girlfriend Mom? So my ex-husband and I got a divorce several years ago. I got remarried in January 2021, and he started dating someone that same month. My ex-husband knocked up his fairly new girlfriend, and our daughter 8 is starting to show resentment towards them. When I got remarried, my daughter started calling my husband Daddy. It was completely unprompted. I asked her about it, and she said that she felt like he was her daddy, and that's what she wanted to do. My ex-husband freaked the hell out and ended up screaming at her. She told me about it happening when I picked her up and she was crying. I talked to my ex and he apologized to me, but never to her. I now have my daughter in therapy because of multiple things he has been saying to her, which the therapist told me not to inform him that she's going. Now, I really worry about my daughter's mental health. My daughter told me today that her father has been telling her to call his new girlfriend Mom, since she's going to be giving birth to a new sibling. My daughter is already upset about the new baby and doesn't want anything to do with it. I have no idea what to do. My husband has been in my daughter's life for multiple years, and no one told her to call him Daddy. This new girlfriend has only known my daughter for a few months, and her father is pushing her to call his girlfriend Mom. Would I be the a-hole if I ask my ex to stop, or if I talked with a girlfriend? Note: just for clarification, I would have no issue with my daughter calling her father's new wife Mom if that was something my daughter felt was right. But her father is the one insisting, and this is a woman my daughter has only seen a total of 10 times. I personally call my own stepdad and stepmom Dad and Mom. My daughter doesn't not like the new girlfriend, but she's admitted that she doesn't feel comfortable with her as well. Not today, Hall, but talk to the therapist about how to handle this. The way her father treats her is horrible. I'm sorry you're dealing with this. According to OP, the therapist doesn't even want OP to inform Dad that daughter is in therapy. Yeah, I'm a bit suspicious of that statement. And if it is true, I'd suggest OP find a new therapist. Any therapist who encourages dishonesty over finding healthier ways to communicate is not very good. Sorry, I wasn't very clear. The therapist doesn't want her father to know just yet, due to the nature of the therapy and that he's been emotionally/mentally abusive. He will be brought into the sessions at some point, but the therapist wants to wait until she knows it's safe for my daughter. Not day Hall. Explain to your daughter she can call the parental figures in her life what she wants, and feel no guilt. He doesn't want your daughter calling her stepdad Daddy, but wants his daughter to call her stepmother Mommy? No, ma'am. He's trying to have the best of both worlds. Update. Holy cow, I didn't expect to get so many responses, and I have been reading through as many as I can. I see a lot of people mentioning lawyers. I have a lawyer, and he is aware of everything. He said that currently there is nothing I can do because there hasn't been physical harm, but we are noting everything. He also said when there's enough evidence from the therapist, we can petition the court for supervised visitation until he receives therapy/anger management and is cleared to see her on his own, but it would be virtually impossible to take away all of his rights to her without evidence of physical mistreatment. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for not inviting my former stepmother and stepsister to my wedding? My parents divorced when I was 3. Dad remarried when I was 9, and he died when I was 19. After his death, his wife's stepdaughter and I didn't really keep in touch with each other. That was more my choice than theirs. I was never particularly close to them, and had spent more time with my mom than my dad while they were married, because of the distance he lived from us. And when he was gone, I didn't see a point in staying in touch. My grandparents continued to keep in touch with them though, and even told them when I got engaged, and then when I sent invites out last week. After, they got upset about not being invited, both them, and my grandparents started giving me crap for it. My grandparents gave my former stepsister my number and she gave it to her mom. I heard everything from they're still family to it's a slap in the face when people ask why they aren't there. After 7 years of no contact, I wasn't expecting this. My grandparents expressed real disappointment in me though, which is why I came here. With everyone pissed at me and thinking of me as the a-hole, I had to ask. So tell me, Reddit, am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Relationships are two-way streets with both sides needing to make an effort. If either side wants to participate in the fun events like weddings, graduation parties, and baby showers, then they need to put in the work of weekly/monthly communication to have that expectation. I have an older stepbrother who I have had 3 conversations with in 16 years. I still consider him family, but just distant. If you want to be close, got to meet at least part way. Not the a-hole. It's your wedding. You and your partner choose the guests based on their significance in your lives. Not an a-hole. Why is your grandma creating drama for you when you're getting ready to get married? That's just rotten of her. If you don't consider the stepmother and stepsister to be family because you never developed a bond with them and didn't see them much while your dad was alive, your feelings and reactions are totally understandable. Is your grandma bored, lonely, and miserable without much to do besides creating drama where she can find it? Why on earth is she handing out your number to people without asking you first? Sorry to tell you this, OP, but your grandma is the huge a-hole in this situation. I figure this must be your dad's mom, so she considers your stepmom to be her daughter-in-law and thus her family. Still no reason to try and force that BS onto you. Sorry you're dealing with that. It's not just my grandma, but both my grandparents on my dad's side. Tell them your ex-stepmother and stepsister are not your family. You had little to do with them when your dad was alive, and you've had no relationship with them since he died. Tell them to stop talking about you to them, that they're only creating unnecessary drama by doing so, and if they don't, you'll have to limit contact with them. Tell them you're blocking your ex-stepmother and stepsister, and you will not discuss it further. Your ex-stepmother and stepsister are literally strangers to you. They aren't even distant extended family who you see a few times a year. You don't have to spend money in entertaining them for appearances. People, other than your grandparents, will think nothing of them not being there, as they haven't been part of your life for over 7 years. Shut your grandparents down, and then refuse to discuss it further, and don't waste mental energy thinking about it either. Last story is titled, Am I the a-hole for expecting my ex to treat all his kids the same? My ex-husband Paul and I have 3 kids together. Since splitting, we have both found new partners and he has had another child, Ollie, with his new partner, Becky. My children spend every other weekend at their dad's. My daughter is about to turn 13 shortly, and it falls in Paul's weekend. Ollie and my daughter have an 11-year age gap, and Ollie was born the day after my daughter's birthday. We hoped that as the 2 children were born on different days, that there would be no problems. The whole family made running jokes through Becky's pregnancy about her crossing her legs tightly for my daughter's birthday, as her due date was so close. Paul and Becky have decided to have a birthday party for Ollie on my daughter's birthday, and also celebrate hers on the same day. My daughter was very unhappy that she will turn 13 and has to go to a toddler's party, and has to stay home that weekend and have a sleepover with their friends instead. I have contacted Paul to see if this is okay, and he had a go at me for messing with the plans. Am I the a-hole for expecting him to accept his 13-year-old daughter wants her birthday to be about her? Ollie is so young he doesn't know the date, so surely his party can be any other day? Thanks for reading. Not the a-hole. How can he possibly think she wants to share a birthday with a toddler at the brink of her teens? Her birthday's for her, so I don't blame her or you. One birthday celebrated on Saturday and one celebrated on Sunday. Easy peasy. Not the a-hole. Especially if she wants a sleepover as opposed to a kid's party. She could have had a cake and sleepover party with her friends, and family could wish her happy birthday the next day at Ollie's party. Not the a-hole. For X, it's convenient. Ollie probably won't remember. But your 13-year-old will. X made these plans without considering 13-year-old feelings about it. She wants to sleep over. How does that ruin his plans? If 13-year-old doesn't want to go, she shouldn't have to. It's her birthday, not X's. It does not inconvenience him in any way. You're the one who will be watching over the sleepover. If X wanted to be a part of the celebrations, he should have asked 13-year-old what she wanted. I highly doubt that the X planned any of this. I bet the stepmom planned a birthday party for her child on her stepdaughter's birthday. She can't see her obvious favoritism, so she believes having a cake and presents for the 13-year-old on the same day is equal acknowledgement. She wants a sleepover. How does that ruin his plans? He's not worried about his plans being ruined. He's worried if his family and friends will judge him for celebrating his 2-year-old's birthday on the older child's birthday. If she's there and gets a token cake and presents, it's all good. If she chooses to stay with mom, then everyone knows she's unhappy with the favoritism. Isn't it Jane's birthday? Where is she? That above is what he wants to avoid. Am I the a-hole for kicking out my roommate after she used my money to pay her rent and bills? Plus update. Earlier this year, I decided to move into a 3-bedroom apartment. I let a friend of a friend move in with a quick background check and job history, and she seemed like a great person, at first. We have lived together for 5 months now, and she doesn't clean after herself and constantly eats our food. She hasn't cleaned since she moved in. It has helped with groceries maybe 6 times. She also uses my products and clothes. Well, I happened to check my account online and saw all the money except $4 was left. I called the bank and told them there was a mistake. They said they will do an investigation, and once they find everything blah blah blah, they will have it in my account. But it will take 10 days from the starting date, and we don't know what that'll be. Well, that money was for bills and groceries. I have a 9-year-old child, and I cannot feed my child. So when my roommate got home, she had shopping bags. I told her what happened today, and told her the police are also in on it since it was over $1,000, and I couldn't let that slide. She gets antsy, and before long is asking how long before they know who it is, and I said not long. Not an hour goes by, and she comes in crying with my card in hand, and says how terribly sorry she is, but she needed things, and I had the money before she did and how she was going to pay me back. I told her I was reporting and was evicting her, and to expect a notice to come. She called me a cruel and heartless witch. But she stole from me and my child where we don't have any groceries left. She loves to eat our food and not replace them. Was I too harsh kicking her out? Now for the top comments before the little update. Not day haul, and I feel like you know that already. Lol. Her not having money isn't your problem. She stole over $1,000 from you. Isn't that considered credit card theft? I'd press charges honestly. It's not okay at all. I already know she can't see her doctor and is off her meds, and this may be a symptom of everything going bad for her. I do feel for her as she was always nice, but messy. I get it. I was like that once, but my kid changed me. Yes, but she's absolutely not your problem. Your child is your first priority. I wonder what else she stole. Not day haul. She stole from you and left you unable to provide for your child. There's no way you could be the a-hole in this situation. That being said, make sure you evict her the right way. I don't know your release situation or the local laws, but for your own sake, make sure it is all above board, just to avoid an unnecessary headache. I'm going Monday to take care of it. You have to call my landlord and have him draw it up as he said I was responsible. I don't know if he will draw up the eviction without the money in hand though. We are sitting ducks right now. Not stay home. She's been taking your things and effectively stole your money that you had for reasons. You're well within your rights to feel completely angry about that. If she was struggling to pay her way, the least she could have done was talk to you about her situation instead of take without asking. I do see your point. I had to read it twice to be able to process it as what it is. If she needed it, she knew to come to me first, but she didn't. I still gonna feel bad and cry like a baby when it comes to time to get paperwork. Edit/update. One of you suggested to look for other valuable things missing. And I'll be damned. My late grandmother's ring is gone. Now I'm calling the police. I mean, I already was before this, but the one ring she knows not to touch is gone. That ring is worth over $20,000 alone. I don't know if she knows, but I never told her the value of it. This infuriates me. First you eat my food, take my clothes and my money, and then you take something worth more to me than money? Is she stupid? She knew that is a definite rule breaker and no going back. I'm calling them now. I'm stressing so bad. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for kicking my cousin out in the middle of the night after she said I chose to be poor? My life has been up and down in terms of finances. I went from rags to rags again pretty much. I have a cousin Alice who I'm very close to. She lost her job and ended up losing her home too. Things have been rough for her, so I agreed to let her stay with me temporarily while she gets back on her feet. A few days ago, Alice was venting to me about how hard her life is and how she just wanted to fast forward to when things were better. I told her I agreed, and she said, well, you're poor by choice, so it's not the same. I asked her what she meant, and she said, Luke would give you money if you ask him, so you're choosing to be poor. Luke is my husband, well, soon to be ex, hopefully. Alice knows all about my history with him and knows why I wouldn't accept money from him. I left him when I found out I was pregnant because he didn't want me to keep our baby. This was the final straw for me, and I've pretty much hidden from him since. Alice knows it was the hardest thing I had ever done, and she knows I never want to be dependent on him again, and I would choose being poor over asking him for money. I got upset with her and I told her that wasn't me choosing to be poor, and that asking him for money wasn't an option for me. She kept arguing with me and doubling down, and eventually I lost my temper and asked her to leave. She thought I was joking at first, but when I told her I was serious, she got pissed at me for kicking her out in the middle of the night when she had nowhere else to go. She ended up asking her parents to come get her. But before she left, she made a snide comment about how she wondered how much money Luke would pay to find out where I lived. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Your cousin was being an incredibly rude guest to begin with. The threat to expose your location to your ex should destroy your relationship with her beyond repair. Truly abysmal behavior. Her sense of entitlement is laughably tone deaf. Not the OP. But please have protection in place for yourself against your cousin and your ex. Not the a-hole by a mile. The absolute nerve of some people. You take her in out of the kindness of your heart, and she repays you by being rude. And then she has the nerve to threaten to out your location to your ex for money? OP, I suggest you stay with a friend temporarily and put a doorbell cam on your apartment, because I can see two things happening. 1. Your cousin does tell your ex your address, and he shows up to try and do God knows what. 2. Your cousin tries to come back because you kicked her out and she wants some kind of payback. Tell her parents and the rest of your family what happened, and if your ex finds you and something happens, it's on your cousin's hands. Cut her off and let her be someone else's problem, because her parents probably won't want to deal with her for long with her horrible attitude. But before she left, she made a snide comment about how she wondered how much money Luke would pay to find out where I lived. WTF? What kind of a-hole threatens something like this? This just shows you did the right move in my opinion. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my ex that my life will be easier when she and her kids move out? My ex and I got together over 3 years ago, moved into my house after a year. She has 2 children from a previous relationship. We also have a child together who is now almost a year old. We mutually decided to break up a few weeks ago. I have my reasons and she has hers, but ultimately her kids play a big role in the breakup. Not their fault. It's more about our different parenting styles. Due to my ex's trauma from when she was a child, and the kids' by father emotionally mistreated all 3 of them, she had a protective bubble around them that was a massive source of conflict. I could write a list, but I don't see how it would be beneficial to this. Anyways, we broke up because we didn't want to resent each other for our child's sake, like the way she resents her other kid's father. They have been staying here until she finds a new place. However, she keeps making remarks about how I'm going to struggle on my own, especially when I have my daughter half the time. I've left it be because I'm pretty sure she's projecting, as she will no doubt struggle, but it is also the damn time. I was having a particularly bad day at work and she knows, and she brought up how I'm going to cope with work and our daughter. My life would be easier when they move out. Yes, I will be having my daughter 3 nights/4 days a week. I changed my work pattern, so when I do have her, I don't have to work, so I have no issues there. Looking after my daughter will be a breeze. I have no issues now looking after her. In fact, I make sure I have her more than her mother because I love spending time with her. It will be even easier when her and her kids move out for so many reasons. The biggest is that all 3 cannot help themselves and always have to disturb my daughter when she's trying to sleep. So she then doesn't sleep and gets cranky at once until I take her to my mother so I can put her to sleep in peace. All 3 are extremely messy. My entire house is a minefield and it stresses me out to no end, and none of them clean up after themselves. I also find myself doing more for her kids than she does. I always take them to school and pick them up, take them to their after-school activities, make sure they're fed and shower often, as otherwise she wouldn't remember. I also pay for everything related to the house and we only split shopping and petrol. So I told her that when they move out, I'll have more money to save because I will be spending less on bills, and this is after me paying more than I should in child support. My house will be back to being clean and tidy and will reduce my constant stress. Looking after my daughter will be less stressful because I will be able to put patterns in place to help. I will have more free time because I'm not spending it cleaning up all their mess, running around all day for her kids when it is her job. My life will finally be back in my hands. She didn't take it too well. It has been quiet ever since. Not today, Hall. Her silence is exactly what she needed. She knows you were right. I think mostly she meant that I'll miss her and the kids and how hard it will be, but his response was stone cold. Doesn't sound like he formed an attachment at all. 4 nights a week is primary custody. You should not be paying child support at all. Please get a formal custody agreement from the court. She should be paying you. And for the love of God, mention that you've done all the child care and provide any and all evidence of her negligence, photos of your house, days you had to shower them because she wouldn't, etc. It's 3 nights and 4 days. I checked the child maintenance calculator. It offered to pay double to what it says. I earn much more than she does, but I'm only doing it for my child's benefit when she lives with her mother. Of course, this will change if I feel my daughter isn't having the care that she deserves while being over there for one reason or another. Here's a wild idea. Maybe he cares about the other kids too. Disagreeing with her mom's parenting doesn't mean he doesn't care about the kids' well-being at all. Bingo, one of the reasons for the breakup. I believe they need to start doing more things for themselves, whereas she thinks she would keep doing it. And by we, I mean me. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for not giving my brother $15,000? I'm 29 male and my brother 28 male grew up extremely close. We did everything together. But when he turned 18, he got arrested and sent to prison for 5 years. I would visit him while he was in prison, but he wanted no relationship with me. Even when he was released, he would not reach out, so I gave up on working on a relationship with him. I'm now married, have a daughter on the way, and work in the government. My brother lives with my parents, does not have a job, and spends most of his days drinking. Then a few months ago, he texted me asking if we could meet at a local restaurant. We met and he asked if I could give him $2,000 to help him get back on his feet. The only thing I asked was that if I gave the money, could we build on being brothers again? He agreed, and I wrote him a check. Now he calls me and tells me that he needs more money. My parents kicked him out of the house and that he needs a place to live. I asked him what he used the money I gave him on, and he told me that he used it on alcohol and clubs. He asks if I could give him $15,000 and help him find a place. I told him no, that it was a lot of money to ask for. I offered to help him find a place that he can afford if he wants. He hangs up on me and sends me a long text that I have always been the favorite son, and he never wants to talk or hear from me. I did try to reach out, but he blocked my number. Am I the a-hole for not giving my brother $15,000? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. If he can't be trusted with $2,000, there's no way on earth I'm giving him $15,000. To add on, sometimes there's a favorite sibling for a reason. One's a convict and the other is an upstanding citizen. Doesn't mean I think that the felon shouldn't get some support, but you can't help someone who refuses to help themselves. At some point though, you have to stop supporting them. The main reason only one of my 5 brothers is dead of an overdose is due to my mom and dad cutting them off. It forced them to get a stable job at a residence. I know it hurts, but he didn't want a brother. He wanted a free bank. You did the correct thing of offering to help him find a place to live instead of forking over cash again. As soon as he realized the bank was closed, he cut you out. Move on with your life. Hopefully your brother gets his act straight one day. Not the a-hole. Obviously you didn't do everything together. Or did you and it took the rap? If so, then you're the a-hole. If you are doing well financially, $2,000 won't make or break you. But $15,000 is a whole other level of money, especially when you simply drank and blew the $2,000 away. You have a kid on the way? This is all for the best that should never be exposed to a drunk uncle. For the arrest? No. He and a few friends got in major trouble. I was hoping for my daughter to know her uncle, but that might not be possible. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for asking my sister and brother-in-law to pay to clean the urine in my truck? I, 24 male, have a truck, and therefore I'm everyone's first contact if they need to move anything. I typically have reasons to get out of it, but this time my sister, 27 female, needed help moving. She and her husband have my nephew, too, and are expecting twins next month, so bought a house about an hour away from their apartment, and they're trying to get settled before the babies are born. I had plans, but pushed them back so I could help them make 2 trips to the new house. My sister was packing things at the apartment and came with us on the second trip to the house. About 20 minutes away from the new house, my sister said we needed to pull over so she could use the bathroom. I let her know how close we were so she could hold it for a little longer. Her husband demanded I pull it to the nearest gas station, but we were about to pass it anyway, so again I said she should hold it for a bit. Well, she released a full bladder of urine all over the back of my truck. She couldn't get it all cleaned out when we got to the house, so I told her I'd want them to cover the rest of the cleanup. My brother lost it on me and said they wouldn't pay for anything since I wouldn't pull over. My sister's a grown woman that I've known my whole life. She can hold it for 15 minutes. Now I have a truck full of piss and half of my family isn't talking to me. Am I the a-hole for expecting an adult to be responsible for their own pee? You're the a-hole. Any grown adult knows that pregnant women, especially 8 months pregnant with twins, absolutely need to use the bathroom when they said they need to. Wow, I'm absolutely shocked at your idiocy and disregard for your sister. And for the record, I'm usually really understanding all these AITA posts, but you have actually gotten me worked up over here. Kudos. Yeah, reading the bit about how he knows his sister, she can hold it for 15 minutes, got me riled. Maybe usually, but not with 2 babies playing football with her bladder. You're the a-hole, OB. What an inexcusable, immoral action to take. To force a pregnant woman to embarrass herself and feel completely uncomfortable for no reason, after she already communicated the urge to drain the main vein. Then to have the freaking audacity to demand she pay to cover what you cost is a new type of cruelty yet to be discovered. I'm sorry for the language. I am furious right now, as a father of twins. You're the a-hole in every sense of the phrase, OP. I can't say it enough. You're the a-hole. You were asked multiple times to pull over so she could use the bathroom, and you refused. You don't know her body better than she does, and you clearly don't know how being pregnant, especially with twins, affects the body of a woman. I'd suggest you take this time to do some research, humble yourself, and apologize for humiliating your sister. Would it have killed you to pull over? Pregnancy can cause frequent, urgent restroom trips. Your sister has 2 almost ready babies pressing on her bladder. Sounds like she couldn't hold it. She's probably humiliated and upset. I doubt she wanted to peel over herself at your vehicle. Edit. I just called and apologized. I'm paying for it. I sent her the link to the post so she could enjoy my downfall. She's happier now. Update. I, 30, think my wife, 27, has been having an affair with our son's kindergarten teacher, 30. How can I handle this in a way that doesn't hurt and confuse my son? Original post. So basically, I travel for work, but my wife is a stay-at-home mother to our 6-year-old son. He started school in August, and we both hit it off with his teacher and he became one of our friends and would come over sometimes to hang out on the weekends, etc. About a month ago, when I was home for a week or so, I found a change of men's clothes in the laundry hamper in the basement and recognized them as not mine and asked my wife about them. At first, she insisted they were mine, but as soon as I pulled them out and said that I don't wear those kinds of clothes, her whole demeanor changed. She suddenly got very reserved and said it was his, my son's teacher, and that he came over and went swimming, and that's why they were there, because he had brought a change of clothes. She had never told me she had anyone over while I was gone, which was fine but a little odd. When I asked what day he was here, she told me today, which was conveniently also the same day our security cameras were broken, and she had to reset them or something. Still, it didn't make a lot of sense to me, but me and my wife never had any issues, so I just shrugged it off and went to bed. A few hours later, and she was bathing in our master bathroom, I could hear my wife on the phone while she was in the bathtub, both being extremely quiet and giggly. I heard her legitimately say, "Ooh, I love your Batman voice," and so I got up and knocked on the door. The following conversation ensued. Me, "Hey, who are you talking to?" Her, "My sister." Me, "Your sister can do a Batman voice?" Her, "Why are you listening to my phone call?" Me, "I'm not. I overheard you." Then silence, and she hurriedly got off the phone and came to bed a little later. I hate to say it, but I did go through her phone and immediately found a lot of stuff I really don't like. Her and him, the teacher, with my son out doing things looking like a family. I found text that she had been making a lot of trips to the school and meeting him for lunch during the day. He had gifted her flowers twice. Ultimately, I found really weird hotel booking confirmations in the teacher's name and the duration of the time I was gone for a hotel in our city for 2 adults and 1 child, which made me look back on some of the pictures I saw on her phone and realized that at some point she had taken my son to a hotel with a teacher and all of them were together. I am not proud of going through her phone, and obviously I didn't find anything romantic between their texts, but they do seem to be constantly eager to talk, and the hotel thing weirds me out frankly. I haven't taken any job super far away for a while for a reason, and more time goes on, the worse I feel about what I saw on my wife's phone. I think I'm going to straight up tell my wife tonight that someone told me they saw her with a teacher at a hotel, and that someone made a comment about how much she is at the school. I am especially concerned for my son, and wondering what he might have seen. As far as I have seen of his schoolwork and from what he's told me, he just does a really good job at school, and loves his teacher and class. He's really well adjusted, but talks about his teacher a lot, and even randomly blurted out when I took him to McDonald's that sometimes his mom makes him call his teacher uncle/daddy, which is just bizarre, but also could just be him being a kid and saying weird things. Should I ask him? I mean, he's only 6. If he hasn't seen anything weird, I don't want to confuse him, but I also feel like if my wife is acting this way, I have to be sure my son isn't being hurt or involved in this. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Do not confront her. She's only going to lie to you. First and foremost, you need to go to a reputable divorce lawyer/law firm. I'm not suggesting you file for divorce. I'm only advising you this because if it gets ugly, and it most likely will, you need to get a leg up on this. Also, a good law firm will set you up with a private investigator. Odds are there's more to this than you know. If you don't feel comfortable going to a divorce lawyer for advice, then at least get a good private investigator. Then based on what comes up, you can decide how you want to proceed. Good luck, man. This sucks. Oh, okay, so I won't confront her then. I guess I'll start shopping around for a good lawyer and a therapist while I'm at it. I know you feel like throwing everything in her face, but don't do it. Lawyer up and start documenting her interactions with your kid and a teacher. Get your financials in order. House, accounts, bills, who pays what, from whose money, where the hotel's paid for, etc. Keep as calm as possible. When you feel you can't handle it anymore, go for a walk alone. I do, and I'm struggling against just screeching at her. But I know it's best for my son and even myself in the long run if I just suffer in silence for another few weeks so I can find a lawyer and get the ball rolling. Man, I'm sorry. Get all the proof you can to give your lawyer and figure out where to go from here. Second this, she's found your replacement. Third this, get your documents in order, get a lawyer, and protect your connection to your son. Thanks everyone. I managed to preserve some of the proof of the hotel bookings and pictures via screenshot. I even was able to log on to her Discord and confirm that she is, definitely experimenting with him to say the least. Edit, thank you everyone so far. I've decided not to confront her and just wait it out with the help of a lawyer/private investigator. And now for the update. Hey everyone! A month ago, I made a post about my wife cheating on me with our son's teacher, obviously. I had a lot of people asking me for an update when I had one, so this is it. I served my wife divorce papers a week after my post was made. With the help of a damn good private investigator and another employee at my son's school, I had more than enough evidence to file on account of infidelity. Not that I needed this, but the harsh truth of the situation really pushed me to actually go through with it. She denied everything at first, but caved and signed them later on in the evening after realizing I meant it. Everything should be finalized in about 3 to 4 more weeks. I have primary custody of my son as of now, on account of my now ex-wife had been going through absolutely ballistic with pain pills. Like going through $400 worth a week. I'm not sure how I didn't see all of the signs, but I found this out via my PI. It made me realize I was away from home far too often. I was an absent father and husband, and I'm working every day to change that. It also made me realize how blindly I trusted her to woman up and be there for our child when I was away, and I hope I will never be that naive again. I hope she gets the help she needs so she can seize the disappointment she has caused my baby. He cries a lot now. I feel terrible for him, and I'm not sure how she could have acted with such disregard for him going to the affair. As for the teacher, it turns out he was on some sort of quarterly contract or something at the school. And after a trip to the school system, armed with what evidence I did have and quite the grievance against him, may have been informed that he has not been invited back for the new semester after Christmas break. Wife has moved out of the house that is at her parents', but she comes on the weekends to see the kid. Sometimes I still love her, and my self-esteem is mostly shattered after this whole ordeal, but I'm in therapy. So is my son. We've both had 2 sessions. We are going to be okay. I have family coming from out of the country for Christmas, and he is so excited for that. Thanks for everything. Wow, I've been waiting for an update from you. Just despicable behavior. Not just infidelity, but also the reckless exposure of your son to this person. Good luck, and glad you and your son are in therapy. Hopefully your soon-to-be ex-wife will get her act together, so your son can have both his parents in his life. Did she express any remorse, or was she just upset about getting busted? I'm also hoping she really pulls through with the rehab, and slowly gets to a place where I can trust her to have him for the weekends at her place, etc. I'm not going to stop her from being in his life, but I will monitor the time they have until I'm sure she won't get him involved in any more chaos like this. She denied everything at first, and it was all waterworks with the "I love you." So we had a long talk and I told her she had to stop lying, and that she didn't love me. She basically agreed that she didn't love me, and thought she could have both a boyfriend and a normal family at the same time. She's in therapy too, I'm sure, because of the rehab. I hope the best for her, really. But what she did really sucks. Oh man, complete cake eater. Wow, what a couple of awful people. Getting your son to call this turd-stained daddy? No matter your absence, you should have been able to trust your wife to deal with a problem with your family's best interests at heart. Not this. Good luck with the therapy, the self-confidence, and the new dynamic. Hope it works out for you in the future. Unbelievable that people are harping on you for admitting you've been too focused on work and let things default to her. Yeah, as a partner, that's crappy. But are y'all for real? Having an emotional and physical affair, lying to his face, having your child around your affair partner. And this guy needs luck in his next relationship? Hell no. He tried, and she lied to his face and hooked up with another dude and had their kid around that. That's emotionally damaging to the child to say the least, but freaking unforgivable for involving the child. I'm sorry this happened, but I'm glad you walked away. Some things aren't forgivable. You sure your kid is yours? Definitely get tested for STDs. Just know that whoever you are a person that's worth of love and respect. Right now, you're a lovable person. Only a damaged, hurt person does that to something. It's not a reflection of you. I wish you the best of luck in the future. Continue therapy to process this and heal. Thanks, man. I'm literally working for the military and I'm on frequent deployments and trips to other bases, where I work with data and as a translator. I'll admit, I could have been around more. I see no fault in admitting it, but it also doesn't make me a monster. I'm doing what I can to fix it. I am sure my son is mine. He looks just like me, and even if he wasn't, that's my baby. I love him more than life, man. I did get tested, and luckily I'm clean. Thank you. Last story is titled, Update. Saw my best friend's dad kissing the person he's in love with. Original post. Hey, I'm 19 male, my friend Adam is 19 male too, and has feelings for our other friend Pam, who's 18 female, and whom we've known our whole lives. Last night, I was walking from a job back to campus when I saw Pam going back into the dorms with a guy wearing a hoodie. I was going to shout out to her, but then I saw the guy wrap his arms around her and kiss her goodbye. After he turned around, it took me a second to recognize him because he's normally dressed differently, but it was Adam's dad for sure. Adam told me last year he had feelings for Pam, and apparently he's had them for a while. But he hasn't said anything to her because she said she's not interested in dating while she's here because she's on a scholarship and needs to keep up her grades. Adam's parents are married and he has younger siblings, so I don't know if I tell him what I saw or stay out of it. I think I'd want to know, but I've never been in a situation like this, so I don't know. Now for the advice before reading the update. Tell him, so he can let his mom know she's married to a freaking creep. It's really freaking creepy, right? Has Adam's dad known Pam since she was a child? Yeah, he's known her since his family moved here when we were like 4. Are Pam's parents friends with your parents as well? And or Adam's? Just try to remember that if you tell someone what you saw and people get mad at you, it's not your fault. This is all on a 40-plus-year-old creeper who is taking advantage of an 18-year-old, and probably even younger, which is a big problem. Yes, they're all friends with each other. Thanks for the reassurance. I'm going to talk to my parents tomorrow. Normally, I'm a mind-your-business kind of person, but she's 18. He's known her his entire life, and he's married with kids? Red flags all over. How old is he? I don't know exactly how old. I know he's younger than my dad, who's 42, but not by much. You need to tell Adam. His mother needs to know, and so do Pam's parents. Try talking to both your parents first. This is huge, and a possible grooming or creep situation. It may possibly be innocent, but that would be one hell of an explanation, which you should get from each party separately so they don't have a chance to concoct a story. Since this is so big at a potential safety issue, I highly recommend leaning on your parents for advice as you don't have that much life experience either. Plus, this could get really ugly. Yes, I guess this is my best bet. I know my mom is going to flip out. It will be awkward and uncomfortable. Just sit them both down and tell them you need to talk to them about something important and for them to listen to the end without interruption. Tell them everything you posted here. Your concerns over your friend's father cheating, the young girl who may have possibly been groomed or is getting in over her head, and mention your friend who has feelings for the girl whom his father is kissing, and how this could all end badly. You don't know how to approach your friend to tell him what you saw. And while another person's marriage isn't something that is generally other people's business, you don't want to betray your friend by staying silent. Even though the truth could possibly end his parents' marriage, destroys the relationship with both his dad and his girl, plus the whole possibility of a potential grooming situation. Or at least a girl who isn't over her head, hasn't thought of the consequences, or doesn't realize the damage this can cause. It's a lot to unpack, and you need their help. And now for the update. I had every intention of telling my parents and getting their advice. But then Adam invited me out, and for a big part of the night, Pam was there with us. We had a few drinks, and after Pam left, Adam was basically saying how they had hung out earlier in the day, how he was going to tell her about his feelings for her, etc. I ended up telling him about what I saw, but I told him I had literally zero context and didn't know what the exact situation was. He thought I was messing with him at first. He thought I was pulling a prank. Then we went to Pam's room and he was like, "Are you sleeping with my dad? I need you to look me in the eyes and tell me you aren't sleeping with my dad." And she immediately started crying, saying that she felt horrible for what she was doing, and she felt horrible for lying to us and hurting Adam's family and mom. But it just started happening, and she didn't know how to stop it from happening. Adam was really mad. He told her it was disgusting, that he's known her from since she was a kid. Pam was just sobbing and kept apologizing over and over, so we thought it was for the best if we left and let her roommates calm her down. I tried to calm Adam down, but then he called his mom and was just like, "Did you know that Dad was sleeping with Pam?" And she thought he was messing with her, and she kept asking him how much he'd had to drink. But she finally realized he was telling the truth, and I could hear her yell through the other side of the phone. I guess to Adam's dad, "Is this the truth? Is it telling the truth?" So the aftermath of all this is that Adam's dad was kicked out of his house. His mom is next level pissed, destroying his things level pissed. Pam's parents are pissed too. Apparently the altercation Adam's dad had with her dad didn't end well. It wasn't physical or anything, just ugly, I heard. I don't know when the relationship started, but I guess the timing is suspicious enough that the cops came and talked to Pam. He was doing alright, but just mainly wants to be left alone right now. Adam is still pissed. He's blowing off classes and binge drinking, and said he doesn't plan on stopping until he forgets about his pathetic father. All of this sucks, but I know I couldn't have kept this from Adam. He's my best friend, but I couldn't keep that from him. I know some people think I should have kept my mouth shut, but I think that would be a pretty horrible thing to do to a friend. You did hard yet right thing, Opie. I'm sorry for your friend. Thanks. He's not handling it well, but hopefully he'll pull it together. I hope so. Binge drinking isn't gonna help him. He can't forget his POS father. He is gonna need therapy. Yeah, I'm going to work on warming him up to therapy. Me thinks the girl was groomed and dad is a pedo. There's really no thinking to do about it. He's been around her since she was a small child. He straight up did it to her. It's not like there's some switch that flips when a young girl turns 18, that all of a sudden makes a grown man start seeing this child he's known for years as a romantic option. Dude is a verifiable pedo, more than an animal and less than a man. You 100% did the right thing. Being a good friend isn't always going to be a fun thing. Hard truths, tough love, and honesty all demand sacrifice. You did great. Sorry it sucks. Thank you. It does suck. Update. My 37 male, wife's 34 female, sister 29 female, try to kiss me and now my wife is spiraling. Help me. Original post. As the title says, my wife's sister made a pass at me at a recent family gathering, and I have no idea what to do. For context, I think my wife Jenna's absolutely gorgeous, but she has some really negative body image issues. This is in large part because of her sister Mary, who is very conventionally attractive, as opposed to Jenna's more unconventional but, in my opinion, striking beauty. Mary was a successful model until a couple years ago, and now works in the fashion industry. In our early days of dating, when I would tell Jenna she's beautiful, she would always say, "Just wait until you see my sister." When I did finally meet her family, she would randomly press me for weeks to talk about her sister, whether I thought she was more attractive than her, etc. I always told her the truth, that I think Mary's attractive in a boring way and that I think my wife is much more beautiful and interesting to look at. She wouldn't let it go, until I confronted her about how uncomfortable it made me and asked her what was going on. This is when she told me that she always had a chip on her shoulder about her looks, because of being compared with her sister growing up. They fell into the classic smart one/pretty one dynamic their whole lives. She also said Mary had a habit of being flirty with all of her exes and warned me that it would happen to me eventually. She then started sobbing and begging me to not cheat on her with her sister, to which I forcefully said I would never cheat on her with anyone, let alone with her sister. I've been crazy about my wife since day one, and there's literally no woman on earth who could come close to her. I honestly didn't believe her about the flirting at first. I assumed it was just an extension of her insecurity, but I was wrong. Whenever we get together with my wife's family, Mary always finds ways to touch me and make little innuendo/comments about me or my body. It's super uncomfortable for everyone, especially my wife, and I've called her out on it before. She'll cool it for a while but eventually start doing it again. It's been 6 years of this, and every time it happens, my wife's upset for days that I have to do a lot of reassuring. On to the current problem. A few days ago, we were at my mother-in-law's birthday party and Mary asked me to help her grab some things from the garage. As soon as we walked into the garage, she turned and pressed me up against the door with her whole body and started trying to kiss me. I immediately pushed her off and asked her what the heck she was doing. She started giggling and saying she was just doing what we both have been thinking and kept insisting, "You know you want to." I told her she was out of her mind and ran out of there and went straight to my wife and told her we were leaving. The whole ride home she was asking me what was wrong. I wasn't sure whether to tell her because I knew how much it was going to hurt, but I also thought Mary would probably try to spin it as me making a move on her. So I knew I had to just say it. So I told her everything and she cried the whole way home. For the last several days, Mary has been calling and texting my wife doing exactly what I thought she would do, even telling my wife that I said she, Mary, was the hottest girl I've ever seen. which I had to reassure my wife a million times that I did not, and would never say that, even though she believes my account of the situation. She's been a complete wreck the last several days. She's hardly eating, and she pulls away from my touch when I try to hug her or just hold her hand. She says she feels hideous and disgusting, and I don't know what to do. This is the lowest I have ever seen her, and it hurts to see how much she's hurting. I have no idea what to do to help her heal from this. Guys, what should I do? Now for the top advice before reading the update. All family gatherings that include Mary must now be non-attendable. Your wife knows what an awful woman her sister is, and hopefully the rest of the family does too. To be honest, your wife's sister is evil. You have reassured your wife of your love and faithfulness. Your wife is incredibly insecure about herself, so obviously a professional may be in order for her and yourself to talk to. You love your wife, so stand by her and be there for support. My in-laws definitely enable her behavior. She's the golden child. They brag about her constantly, even though my wife is literally a neuroscientist. Their mom was a pageant queen and she was their dad's much younger trophy wife. Honestly, we may have to go no contact with all of them. Absolutely. Their daughter assaulted you. That is an insane violation. The disrespect to both you and your lovely wife is off the charts. If her family doesn't see that, then it's time to throw them all away. You are a good husband. Keep having her back. You may have to be the one to finally push her to go no contact. It's for the best for both of your mental health. Good luck. Straight up tell your wife that your sister-in-law is a rotten, festering, soulless cretin on the inside, so it matters not her physical features. Also, your wife needs to no contact her dumb witch sister, probably years ago. She needs to block her number and go to therapy because her sister has been abusing her for years. This instance was merely the final chip on an already very, very cracked vase. It is shattered, and you do not have the glue she needs. A professional will. If you haven't, explain the situation in detail. Leave nothing out. Ask her why you would have immediately left if you were actually interested in her sister. Remind her this is her sister's MO, so she cannot be trusted. Her sister has some freaky jealousy of your wife. Maybe her intelligence or very striking beauty? No loving, caring sister repeatedly chases their sister's exes. She is so gross. Someone should tell her she is so gross, because she needs to know how nasty she's acting. But for real, get your wife to a therapist because Mary has messed her up with Mary's crappy behavior. So gross. So gross. Who heck wants D that's been in another family member? What the heck is wrong with Mary? Tell your wife that you're getting a restraining order against her sister for harassing you. That ugly POS is an absolute narcissist who thinks she's entitled to the world because of her looks. I might try to do this. A friend of mine pointed out that what she did was literal assault. I don't know how restraining orders work though. Will they actually do anything if it's just my word against hers? And now for the update. I got a few requests for updates, so here it is. I first want to thank everyone so much for your advice. It was extremely helpful and gave me a lot to think about. I'm especially thankful for the folks that asked me how I was doing. I realized that I have literally never had a chance to check in with myself after these things happen, and I've actually been holding a lot of frustration and resentment about it all. I've been harassed for years, and it has either been brushed off or it's been eclipsed by the impact it has on my wife. I don't blame her for it, but this has been a good lesson in me not burying my feelings for the sake of others, even for her. I also want to clarify a couple of things that came up. Several people ask about how my wife's family feel about all this, and I explained in a comment that her parents are toxic and treat Mary as the golden child, even though my wife is a freaking neuroscientist, amazingly talented musician, speaks 3 languages fluently and another 2 conversationally. My wife and her family are seriously the only people who don't seem to understand how exceptional she is. I remember meeting one of my wife's family friends and talking to them about her research, and they said, "Oh wow, her parents just told us she works at a university." Whereas my parents literally introduced her as the family genius to everyone. It makes me so freaking angry to think about how her a-hole family has stolen her shine her whole life. She's literally a Renaissance woman, but all they care about is looks and money. Some folks ask me why I would ever put myself in a situation alone with Mary, given everything she's done. I have no good answers for that, other than I never thought she would actually try to do anything. That possibility just didn't exist in my head. I realize now that I should have seen this would happen eventually, and that I should have been less concerned with keeping the peace and more concerned about shutting Mary's nonsense down before it escalated to this point. Hindsight is 2020. Anyway, on to the update. The night I posted, I told my wife that if she wanted to try to repair her relationship with her sister, I would respect that, but that I don't feel comfortable being around her for the foreseeable future. I said Mary has obviously been deeply jealous of my wife her whole life because she is a hollow, ugly person whose entire value has an expiration date, while my wife actually has substance. I said that I think her whole family is toxic and has done nothing but put her down her whole life, but that only she can decide whether she still wants them in her life. I also told my wife that while I don't blame her for her emotional reaction, her insecurity is something that she needs to work on for our relationship to be healthy. What Mary did was assault, and she's been harassing me like that for years. But I have consistently put aside my own feelings about this problem because of how it affects her, and that has prevented me from getting the support that I need to. I told her that her reaction only serves to punish herself and me for her sister's behavior, and there's no reason to give her that kind of power. I also told her something that a commenter said that really resonated with me, that the only people who have ever considered her second best are her and her family. Everyone else sees her for who she really is. She was crying the whole time and agreed that she needed to go to therapy to work on her insecurity. We were able to find a therapist who specializes in body image/self-esteem issues to work with her individually, and we're looking for a couples therapist too. My wife sent a message to her parents and sister that explained exactly what happened, and told them she would reach out to them if she ever feels ready to repair their relationship. We blocked all of them everywhere, but Mary has of course been spamming my family and our friends with nonsense, claiming I attacked her, I'm a drug addict, I mistreat my wife, all kinds of BS that thankfully nobody believes. My wife is still down in the dumps, but I can see that things are getting a little better. She's eating and sleeping more and she's cuddling with me in the mornings again, which is nice. Now, I'm planning a surprise getaway for us this weekend. We're going to one of our favorite places, and I'm going to wine and dine her and try to make her feel like the goddamn queen she is. I want to thank you all again for your help. You really helped me understand the severity of the problem. And again, thanks for helping me connect with my own feelings about all this. Y'all are the best. Mary has of course been spamming my family and our friends with nonsense, claiming I attacked her, I'm a drug addict, I mistreat my wife, all kinds of BS that thankfully nobody believes. I have a suggestion. Even though no one believes what Mary has been saying, it could be helpful for you and your wife in the long run to hire an attorney now, to send a strongly worded cease and desist letter to Mary. If Mary's been sending texts and voicemails to your family and friends, then you have some evidence of slander and libel. Shutting her actions down hard now could prevent her from escalating her actions in the future, just like she did in the past, where she tried to test and push her boundaries, which then escalated to her doing what she did. Yes, exactly this. Don't give them any ground to stand on. You and your wife need to stamp this out right now and build a boundary. She has proven she has zero boundaries, and you need to establish yours or she will slowly over time push further and further back into your lives in an unhealthy manner. Think of it like this. She keeps pestering. One day, your wife is either feeling particularly weak or strong and thinks she either should or can now open up that relationship again. Now your wife and her sister go back and forth and rebuild without you being aware. One day, you come home and find Mary sitting on your couch, and your wife starts pleading to hear her out. I can't tell you how many posts I have read that are exactly this. Do it now while the feeling is strong. You're an absolute legend. She's found herself another genius who knows how to navigate life without infantile drama. I wish you both nothing but the absolute best. The only genius thing I've ever done is marry her. I'm a pretty average dude, to be honest, so I have no idea how I snagged her. Sad to think her low self-esteem probably played a part, but I do work hard to be a good husband every day. She chose you because you're worth it, my guy. The way you speak about her makes it plain you're the king to her queen. Reign together and extricate yourselves from the ill-wishers. Last story. My male 27, girlfriend female 21, still being friends with someone female 22 who ruined our son's birth experience doesn't sit right with me. My son is 6 weeks old and being a father has been great, but actually becoming a father was hell, and it was all because of her best friend. My girlfriend has been best friends with her since middle school, so I understand a close bond, but this is someone that has been toxic time and time again. Ever since I've been dating my girlfriend, she has not liked me. Not to mention she is a toxic person. It only got worse when my girlfriend got pregnant, and 2 weeks before our son was born, I told my girlfriend how I felt about her best friend, and my girlfriend told her best friend. I didn't mind she told her because I had valid points in how I felt, but it's what her best friend did after that is mind-boggling. Literally 3 days before my son was born, her best friend accused me of cheating, all because I went to a club. Now, I don't go clubbing as often as I used to, but this time I was not in the club to party. When I left the house, I told my girlfriend that I was going to the store and I did that. But then I received a call from my friend that he lost his wallet at a club, so I went to go help him look for it. I didn't even know she saw me there, because I think I stayed there for 15 to 20 minutes. We ended up finding the wallet and I went home. Next morning, my girlfriend wakes me up showing me text messages from her best friend with pictures that I was at a club, and text messages accusing me of kissing other girls, leaving with one, being dishonest, etc. I've never been more flabbergasted. Girlfriend goes into labor and I was one of her support people, but you could just tell she was disgusted with me, and it was an awful feeling. Her friend even has the audacity to tell the nurses and doctors that I cheated. Although a beautiful experience, it was ruined due to someone's pettiness. Then about a week later, her friend admitted to lying and my girlfriend dropped her, but now they're friends again. This is someone who has slandered my name time after time. It hurts me even if it means hurting her own best friend. I feel very uncomfortable with the fact that they are friends again, after everything that happened, and I'm thinking about what I want to do. I would have a hard time dealing with that myself. About a week later, her friend admitted to lying and my girlfriend dropped her, but now they are friends again. This is someone who made an attempt to sabotage your marriage, throwing baseless cheating accusations for the sole purpose to disrupt your relationship. I say marriage because you two are practically at this point. Not only did it jeopardize your relationship, but it also jeopardized your child's potential of having a two-parent home. That poor kid, robbed of a healthier family upbringing because of a reckless person due to a lie. I am really bothered by this the more I think about it. I don't understand how your girlfriend can just accept this with no consequences for her friend. Anyone who made an attempt to break my marriage and risk my child's potential for a better life, they're cut off without hesitation. Because she says they've been friends for 10 years, and she's like her sister and all this other stuff. I don't get it. She's happy to have a close relationship with someone who would treat her so badly without a second thought. Friend is obviously jealous of your relationship. It's surprising me too. I'm not trying to be a prick, but I'm assuming you started dating your girlfriend when she was like 18/19, unless you got her pregnant right away. I'm not surprised she's immature. She's fresh out of high school with little adult experiences. I highly doubt this situation gets better. She was 20 when we started dating. I'm not accusing her of being immature. I'm just saying that I wish she would realize that her friend does really shady stuff that true friends wouldn't do. This isn't the only instance where her friend has done anything like this. I just thought that this time she'd truly see what her friend is about. I personally could never become friends with someone that ruins what is supposed to be one of the best days of my life. Imagine you're 9 months pregnant and you find out your boyfriend is cheating on you. That has to be one of the crappiest feelings in the world. She saw how my girlfriend was literally crying from that on the delivery bed when we were talking about me cheating, but still chose not to say anything until she was caught in a lie. It actually makes me sick talking about it. All I'm saying that just because you're friends with someone for a long time does not mean they have your best interest in mind.